Hey there, it's Noreen. I just wanted to jump on for a few minutes, talk about kind of what's going on right now with mental health, with people's increase in depression, isolation, everything like that. So if you're here, please let me know you're here, say hi. And if you're watching this on the replay, hashtag replay. Hey, Julie. If you have any questions, drop them in and I can certainly try to address those. But I really wanted to talk about, hey, Cassidy, I really wanted to talk about what's going on right now because as all of this COVID-19 continues and it's not as short-lived as we all initially thought, we are going to be seeing an increase in people's depression, anxiety, feelings of isolation, which I know that I've already started to see in my clients just from this week, especially seeing them online. And they're not, being able to socialize like they used to. They're not at work with their coworkers. School is online, and that's a different kind of draining because they're looking at the computer all day long, and so that then gets them frustrated. I've heard headaches. A lot of different symptoms have started coming up, and I think that that's just going to continue. Some of the things that add to thoughts of suicide are, if you look at Thomas Joiner's psychological theory of suicide, it is lack of belongingness, burdensomeness, and capability. So right now, people are feeling like they are being isolated, that they're not able to socialize they could, that, FaceTime only goes so far. And as far as being a burden, a lot of the elderly population or a lot of people with chronically ill are certainly starting to feel, I've heard, that they're a burden because since they cannot go out, they are having to rely on others to bring them either their medications or food or, just help sometimes just with daily tasks. And, it's one thing for people, they say, to ask once or twice, but when it has to be a regular thing, those things really start to wear on people. And especially elderly, they're very high risk for suicide. I was speaking to my sister, who is a nurse down in San Diego, and she was saying that a lot of these people are leaving the skilled nursing facilities against medical advice because they're so fearful for their lives. And then they're requesting home health, and there are just not enough nurses to come for home health. And it's the same thing for mental health, that people are getting requests for mental health, and that first of all, sometimes it's hard for them to reach out. But when they do reach out, oftentimes they can't afford it, or they feel like they're even a burden for asking. So people are offering a lot of, either low cost or pro bono services for limited times. I've seen it all over Facebook. So definitely, if you can jump in on one of those listservs, that would be awesome to be able to help however you can. But I think what I've found, hey, Catherine, I think what I've found is what's really been helping most of my clients, and I will post it in the group after, I just saw it on one of the moms groups this morning, is really focusing, like have a list of your today stuff. So what are you grateful for? And even though it's so hard to find something to be grateful for, just, I tell my clients, if you can just say, hey, I'm grateful that I got up this morning. That's something to be grateful for. Hey, Marcy. Another thing is that, what is one thing that you can look at that's positive? And again, in things that are being so negative right now, that's just really difficult. So a lot of it is doing things that we, talk with our clients about all the time. But then when we start feeling, overwhelmed and burdened and isolated, and everything else our clients are feeling, because we're going through this too, it really becomes difficult to just off the top of your head pull out those things like you normally do. So I will put that list in. It's a list of, 5 or 6 things. One of them is make sure that you get movement every day. So even if you are, let's say you're doing online sessions, make sure that you're at least leaving a bit of time so that you can get up, and even if it's just walk around your house or walk outside your door for 5 minutes, to be able to take that break. Make sure that you're exercising. Make sure that you're getting fresh air. One of my clients is doing online school, and so I said, go do your classes outside. At least you can get fresh air doing that. So it's all of these things that they don't, April, that they don't think about right then and there, but that you can certainly help them with. You know, the other thing is that because, you know, as they say, this is not a race, it is a marathon, unfortunately, we have to continue to work on these things with them. One of the things I did with one of my clients this morning is I had them take a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle of it. And on the left side, I had them draw, I told them they could put words, shapes, symbols, pictures, whatever they want, stick figures, it's, you know, theirs. And just put how they are feeling right now, things that they are experiencing right now. And then on the other side of that line, on the right paper, I had them put what is it what they would like to see? How would they like it to be instead? And then we talked about how is it that they can get from where they are now to that other place. And a lot of it is doing some of these things that, you know, we just talked about. But I would say, you know, the other thing, getting back to, you know, suicidal clients, is that we are going to start seeing this increase in risk. And so it's so important that we all be able to know exactly how to assess this. And I know some of you have taken my course already, and some of you attended my course in person in Ventura County, which was awesome seeing you guys. Right now, it's normally $6.99. I'm dropping the price down to $129 because I really want to make it feasible for everybody. And there's even an option to make it in 2 payments if you can't do that one payment of $29, just so that you have all of those resources and that you are able to do this. And you get 6 CE credits. So it's for, you know, your BBS renewal, and it has the intake assessment that I use. It also just has like specifically a suicide assessment, a safety plan, a rating scale, you know, all of these other things that you can get in a lot of different places, but this is all in place. And some of it, you can get a couple of these from my website and just download it for free. That's fine too if you'd like to do that. But the big thing is really the assessment piece and the intake piece, because that's what will give you your information of things to look for and questions to ask that you don't normally do. So it's really important. And the other thing that's so important is, I know, you know, in general, there are clinicians, and I talk about this all the time, there are clinicians who are really afraid to be able to ask directly, you know, do you have thoughts of killing yourself right now? But that is so important. And so I just want to stress that during these times, you know, don't be afraid that you might see, oh, you know, maybe my client's having an increase in symptoms, but I'm afraid to ask because I don't want to push them over the edge because they're so isolated. But that's even more reason to ask, you know. And then it's how do you help them make those connections while they are isolated, because that's really important. So, and there are lots of different ways to do that. Hey, all you guys, Susan, Vanessa, Lynn, Darshana, that I'm so glad you guys could join. And we've just really been talking about ways to help clients be able to either, you know, feel comfortable talking about what their risk is, for you to be able to assess their risk, and knowing that this will come. You know, again, especially for the people with the chronic illnesses and the elderly. And I also feel like I've seen it a lot. I just, right now, I have a few teen clients on my caseload, but with those, what I'm seeing is all of a sudden they've gone from seeing their friends every single day to being totally isolated. And, you know, some of their classes online, it's like a full school day for them, but they don't get that break in between to go and socialize and be outside and go from class to class. And that has made such a difference. And so what some of them are doing is not healthy either, is staying isolated in their rooms, and they're not getting out of their rooms. They're not going outside, or they're not socializing. And so we were talking about different ways to help them be able to socialize. You know, one of the apps I have been hearing about is called House Party. And it's where you all join in, you get your friends join in, you can play all these different games and you can chat in there, and that's the way to see it. Or either Netflix party where you can all watch a movie together and, you know, talk during the movie. And so that's another way of joining. So there are a bunch of different ways, you know, FaceTiming your friends, doing like a shared group FaceTime or whatever. Or even on Facebook, I've seen there are a couple of people and a couple of therapists that are doing, Mari Lee, she did like this pajama party and just kept it to 8 or 10 people. I forget what it was. So that way it is intimate and it's not, you know, too many people. And that way people can have that interaction, which is so important. So if you guys have any questions, definitely drop them here. I will be checking back throughout the day, check in on the group, talk about what your concerns are in the group. I'm happy to answer them there. And certainly, you know, let's provide support for each other also, because that's the other thing is mental health workers right now are those first responders. They're on the front lines. And yes, there are the doctors and the nurses and, you know, all these other people. And there are people who are working in restaurants and other services that have to be out there, you know, grocery store workers. They're also these, you know, first responders on that front line for right now. So to really be able to make your services available to them, if possible, even if it's just one slot, right? So if every therapist opened one slot for somebody, you know, doing pro bono or low cost or whatever you feel you could do, that would be able to provide so many services to so many people. So again, glad to be here. Glad that you guys are able to attend. And if you have any questions, drop them in and I'll see you later. Okay, have a great day. Bye-bye.